Hi, welcome to Real Life Alexa. I'm Alexa. It is Wednesday. It is almost the end of 2024. I feel like a lot of people are gearing up for the holidays, and I know there's a lot of holidays, not just Christian holidays, but certainly Christmas and New Year are big holidays, at least where I live. But this Saturday, there is another holiday, and it is Yule or the winter solstice. The winter solstice is, and this is in the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice is the shortest day of the year, quite literally, the shortest amount of sunlight that we will have this year. That is the day that is the winter solstice. So it's normally the 21st or 22nd of the year. I have seen it as early, I want to say, as the 19th of December in the northern hemisphere. Now, the southern hemisphere is offset by 6 months in terms of, I've talked about various wheel of the year holidays. So while the northern hemisphere has the winter solstice, the southern hemisphere is actually going to have the summer solstice. And the summer solstice is, I believe I spoke about this 6 months ago, the longest amount of daylight in a day in the year. So when I'm talking about Yule today, I am talking about the Northern Hemisphere. These traditions can be celebrated in 6 months for Yule in the Southern Hemisphere for those who want to, like to. I appreciate the Wheel of the Year, and I appreciate not necessarily having a deeper meaning or a religious meaning, but quite simply, after the autumn equinox, the fall equinox, where again the equinoxes are halfway between Yule and summer solstice, winter and summer solstice, and they are the days when night and day are equal in length. After the fall equinox, the autumn equinox, the days obviously get shorter as you ramp up to winter, you get closer to the winter solstice, and it gets darker, and you'll literally be driving at like 5:30 at night to go get something from the store, and you're like, how are there so many people out at this time of night? And then you're like, wait, it's only 5:30, it's not 9:30 at night. They're literally going home from work right now. Like, it's just dark. It makes it hard to want to go outside. It makes it hard to want to do anything. It makes me want to like sort of hibernate a little, stay inside. I just got this fuzzy, I love fuzzy, warm clothing in the winter. I mean, a lot of people do, but I really love that soft, comforting, wrap myself up, hibernate a little bit, rich, not necessarily too rich, but like hearty, warm food, like a stew or a really good soup, just warming you up. I think a lot of us do. Obviously, it's definitely better to eat hot foods in the winter when it's cold than when you're already way overheated in the summer. So Yule is definitely an interesting festival. If you look back at history and you do any sort of research, you will find that the church, I forget the exact years, I'm always bad at the dates. I want to say Middle Ages, maybe a little bit before, like 6th century through maybe 10th century, 12th century. I don't know. Dates are not my thing, but I know what I'm about to say. They did a concerted effort to get heathens, which in, I want to say, ancient Rome, quite literally was a word that people in the cities used to just mean the people out in the country, the less cultured, less knowledgeable, less whatever they wanted to say about them. I sort of equate it to today's calling the redneck country. That's kind of where heathen came from. However, it took on more meaning to have a very negative connotation, and it also started to mean those people who don't believe in what the church at the time was telling them. So the church, and there's documents out there, people can do way more research than I have on this, but I've done enough. The church had concerted efforts, and what they would do is they'd go out into these mostly Germanic because it came out of Rome and Italy and then up into the northern Germanic, Scandinavian, England, all of those countries. The Germanic pagans, or people of the country with their own beliefs, they basically went out to them and said, hey, you're going to go to hell if you keep doing that. But if you come to the church, you can have this similar festival. And as long as you come to church, that'll save you. And there's probably a lot more that they said, but that is why a lot of the symbolism of Christmas is pagan, and other festivals like Easter. Rabbits have absolutely nothing to do with Christ. Like, I know they say sacrificial lambs, so lambs do, but all of the symbols of Easter are springtime symbols, and they all relate back to the spring equinox, which is halfway between the winter solstice and the summer solstice, when the days are equal and we go from having more night to more daylight time. All of the symbols of Easter come from that. The spring is back. We're going to be able to start planting, or maybe have started planting in some areas. It's so fascinating to look back. And now that information is so readily available, to be able to see that the victor did not write history. They did for a while, but now all this other information is coming out, and it's so fascinating to me. And on a personal level, it's like I don't really mind either way. I just love that we're going to be able to see longer daylight hours within a few days. So there is some a train of thought that while we know today that the exact day that has the least amount of sunlight hours during it, we can figure that out. We have the technology. Way, way, way back, before a lot of this technology, people would actually notice within 4 to 5 days, which is where the 25th, 26th, that sort of New Year area time of our year, that they would actually have noticed that the days were getting visibly longer. When you don't have artificial light to, counteract the dark outside, you get very used to how much daylight there is, and you start noticing that it is going longer and you have more time with the daylight hours. So there's a whole lot of stuff that is speculative, that was not necessarily written down or documented by those people who were essentially conquered by the church. But there are also enough records out there that you can piece together some of the stories. Some of the things that in the pagan religions are associated with Yule are the holly, the ivy. These are signs of life that would be showing, and the evergreen, again, evergreen trees. They are showing life during the darkest years, the darkest months of the year. And so they give you a little bit of hope to get through, that life will come back again. And in some religions, pagan religions, they say that the wheel of the year is divided in two, and that the Oak King and the Holly King rule for 6 months each. And then depending on which branch of this philosophy, religion you go with, some people say that the Oak King takes over at the winter solstice and rules until the summer solstice. Some say he is born on the winter solstice, grows, and then defeats the Holly King at the equinox, the spring equinox, and then rules until fall equinox. And then the Holly King would be born at the summer and then take over in the fall, rule through winter, etc. So it's one of those ideas that lines up with the natural rhythm of our earth. We know that starting in the spring, around the spring equinox, we're going to start seeing the oak trees grow the leaves again. So I think that some of this stuff is fascinating. I don't know that I put too much stock in any deeper meaning. I do appreciate knowing that the days are going to get longer. I do appreciate the signs of life that spring is coming. We are going to be able to plant more food crops. I mean, we need to plant food. We need food to grow, plants to grow, right? Not just for us, but the livestock, for animals. Like, without that, we're all done for. So, and then just on an even simpler level, I like it when it's not so dark out all the time. I mean, it's just tiring in the winter. I think a lot of us get that way and just want to hibernate a little bit. There is a whole lot more that could be said, but this is my Wednesday midweek. I just wanted to give a quick little overview of some of this stuff, talk about it. As I said, it is on Saturday that Yule actually occurs. So I probably could have saved this for then, but I figured it was a good time as any tonight to talk about it in preparation. If you wanted to celebrate it in some way, the simplest way is quite literally lighting a little votive candle to indicate the light will be returning, and literally the light will be coming back for longer. Now, and that's in the everything again for the winter solstice is in the northern hemisphere right now. It would be 6 months from now for the southern hemisphere. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. As always, drop a like, subscribe, let me know what you think, share the video, and I will see you on the next one. Be kind to yourself.